Hello, folks, and welcome to today's LinkedIn Live. Happy Friday to you. So over the last 10 weeks or so, I have been showing up and doing LinkedIn Lives, and all of my LinkedIn Lives have been about LinkedIn. And so today I'd said I'd come along and I would do a session specifically around anything that has come up for you from watching the last number of sessions. Recently, I've also hosted masterclasses about LinkedIn and how to get your ideal clients chasing you on LinkedIn without having to use any complex funnels. You can catch that if you haven't watched it yet. It's in my featured section on my profile. But for right now, today's session is a Q&A. Several of you have reached out to me with questions that you wanted to answer. And what I will do is go through those. But if any of you are here live with me and you'd like me to answer questions, just please comment on the thread here and I should be able to pick it up. Okay, so first and foremost, one of the questions that has come up, I've written them all down, so I have a list, is how to actually do a LinkedIn Live. Okay, so great question. And actually, it's much easier than you think in terms of the setup and the system that you need to do it. So what you need to have firstly on LinkedIn is actually have a creator account set up. And to have the creator account set up, how you can check that, I'll literally share my screen. Screen share and LinkedIn. Here we go. It's a bit weird because I'm seeing myself on the page. So what you do is go to your profile. And if you scroll down on your profile, what you will see is resources. Oh, wrong section. Where am I gone? Of course, this happens when I'm live. Where is it? Show all resources. My network. I was sure it was here. Oh, do you know what? Okay, LinkedIn have actually changed this. You might have noticed that some of your feed and profile looks a little bit different. Even some of the analytics look a little bit different than they did before. Here it is. So it's under Creator Tools. So when you click in and look at your analytics, under Creator Tools, you have the option to do LinkedIn Live, an audio event, do newsletters, and set up the follow link. So these are things that you can access once you have LinkedIn Live set up. So all you literally need to do is make sure that you have your creator mode turned on, that the green check mark is available for you there on LinkedIn. And then finally, in order to actually share a video or an audio event like this, you do need an external tool. LinkedIn currently don't have features like Instagram do, where you can go live within the platform, and the same with Facebook. What you have to do is use a third-party software. So I'm using third-party software right here, right now, and it's called Restream, restream.io. I use Restream. I have used StreamYard in the past as well. Both are very good. I like Restream in particular because sometimes I record my podcast episodes on this platform, and when I do, the person who might be a guest on my Master Your Business podcast, that person can also stream the event live. So both of us can stream live to our separate LinkedIn audiences at the same time, which is pretty cool. So that's why I use Restream. And right now I'm streaming live. I'm literally here live right now. But sometimes what I do with my LinkedIn series that I share every Friday at 2:30 p.m., what I do with that is I record it maybe on a Wednesday or a Thursday, and then I schedule it so that it streams live at that time on a Friday. So Fridays, 2:30 p.m., that's when it goes live. So you need to register. You'll be able to watch all of those series. Okay, so that's how to do a LinkedIn Live event. It's very simple and easy to set up. And let's see, what else did people ask me about? Oh yes, here's one that's come up actually recently as well. Let me show this to you. This is to do with your LinkedIn profile and your URL. So let me share my screen again and just show you what I mean. Share screen, LinkedIn, share. Okay, so when I click through to my LinkedIn profile, watch what happens when I click on my name, right? See, it says my name, it says Deirdre Martin Customer Experience, because initially when I started my business, I was focusing entirely on customer experience. Still a lot of what I cover with people, excuse me, still a lot of what I cover with people, because everything to do with your brand and your marketing, everything in your business comes back to your customers. If you don't have customers, you don't have a business. And I'm very much around customer centric business relationships, customer centric marketing. Like I use permission based marketing and all of that sort of stuff. So I haven't changed my link, but actually what I do have here is I have a typo in mine. Don't judge. I did it at the start. And now because my link is shared out there in the world, in the ether with so many people, I haven't gone back and changed it. But in here, so I've literally clicked LinkedIn, clicked my profile, my name on my profile, and then over here it says public profile and URL. So you click that, and this allows you over here where the pen is, or pencil, whatever it is, to edit your custom URL. So your custom URL must contain between 3 to 100 letters or numbers, and don't use spaces, symbols, or special characters. So a lot of people have their name followed by a whole series of numbers, but actually you're much more searchable if you have your name and don't have those numbers after it. So if you are a business owner, maybe you have a limited company name, you mightn't want to have whatever it is your company name is in case you ever change your company name in the future, but take off the numbers. And if nobody else has that same URL, you will be able to use that. And you could maybe include something else if they don't. So for example, there's another Deirdre Martin out there, fabulous name for whoever she is. And actually I have connected with another Deirdre Martin on LinkedIn. Moral of the story is that's why I have Deirdre Martin Customer Experience. She got there before me, before I knew about this and before I was setting up my business. So that is something you can do as well. It makes you more searchable. If people look for you on Google and you show up, they can find you in that way. Make sense? Good. Okay. Let me see, is anybody asking me any questions yet? Not just yet. Okay, so another question that comes up all of the time is to do with company pages versus personal pages. So what I say to people on this is, and I literally had this conversation, I was doing a LinkedIn audit with somebody this morning, and what I say to people on this all of the time is that it's much easier for you to build a personal brand than it is to build a company brand. And you just need to look at Richard Branson, Elon Musk. I list the same people all of the time. Donald Miller, one of my story brand heroes. Who else? Shep Hyken, Seth Godin, like all of these guys, Oprah Winfrey. The list goes on. Like everybody who's a big name, their name is bigger than their company brand. Okay. And so it's much easier for you to share your opinions, to be share the behind the scenes stuff than it is for maybe a company brand that has a specific tone of voice, personality, and visual identity. So as an individual, you can be airy fairy today, you can be formal and serious tomorrow. And the goal would be that you have a consistent style most of the time, but you have more freedom and flexibility with a personal brand to show up and share more of you. And you're what people relate to. People don't relate to logos. People relate to other people. So when you show up as you, oh my gosh, you're so much better primed to be able to connect with your ideal clients. So that's what I would encourage people to focus on. Focus on building your personal brand, and then you can also share some things from the company in that way. So that's one of the questions that comes up all of the time. So let me see. One other one that has come up was, so that was company page versus personal page. How to do a LinkedIn Live. Oh yes, LinkedIn followers versus connections. Now, as I understand it, this is not something you need to even consider or think about in the coming weeks and months, because LinkedIn are about to change that. And so right now, what happens is you can connect with up to 30,000 people on LinkedIn. And a connection means it's somebody who goes from being a third or second degree connection to a first degree connection. The advantage of having first degree connections is because when somebody is your first degree connection, you can go in and see their connections. So when you have first degree connections, all of the people you're connected with are now second degree connections where they might have been third degree connections previously. So you're growing your audience and you're growing your network. And often what I find is, if I'm going to connect with my ideal client, usually my ideal clients are swimming in circles with more people who are my ideal clients. So if I connect with one, that might give me exposure to 9 more or 100 more. So it's really valuable to grow your connections, but make sure that your connections, the people whose connections you accept are your ideal clients, so that that's happening. That ripple effect is building for you. In terms of followers, you can have an unlimited amount of followers, but with followers, you don't have access to that second degree connections, right? Followers are people who can opt into your newsletters if you send them through creator mode. So what I encourage people to do is that when somebody follows you, I always go in and I will look at my followers and I'll say, okay, who's this person following me? Could they potentially be a good connection for me to have? Maybe they're connected with other people in my audience or with others who I'd like to be connected with. And if so, well, then what I'll do is go in and do a session where I literally connect with everybody who I think is somebody worthwhile in my network. Okay, so some of you are sending in questions. So let's see. Hi, Lynn. Oh, lovely to see you here, Lynn. Okay, so Lynn says, is it a good idea to share personal photos or is it best to keep it to business topics on LinkedIn? So I think that comes down to you and personal preference, but I also think that people want to see your personal photos. People are freaking nosy. And so the personal photos are a fantastic way to share behind the scenes, to help people build trust with you, to help people get to know you, know a little bit about what your personality is, what your interests are. And it's really interesting in terms of purpose, right? So if you have a company, Lynn, I know you very much focus on company experience or customer experience and employee experience. And when people's purpose is aligned or when their values are aligned with you, they're much more likely to be more motivated. And clients whose values align with you as well are much more inclined to do business with you. And a great way to show your values is to share those personal photos and tell stories around them. But it doesn't mean that you can't relate the caption or the context in which you're sharing it back to business. So for example, yesterday I shared a post around clarity. Clarity is king or queen or whatever you want to call it. It's essential. And, I was talking about the endless pursuit of clarity. And I was away in Greece on holiday this year. And essentially what happened was we hired out a boat and we went off in pursuit of those spectacular waters that are, they're ubiquitous when it comes to Greece. And essentially what we were looking for were that sea and that color turquoise to swim in. And eventually we found it. But my post related back to that. And so the context was very much business focused, but in terms of an image, that was the best image that I could share to portray it, and why, the story relates back to that endless pursuit around clarity. Because while we might be clear on something today, if the market changes and it affects your customers, or, if a global pandemic strikes again, that affects people in so many different ways, and we need to change with them. And that means getting clarity every single day on our customers so that we can best show up to serve them. Okay, so Yassine has asked a question as well. How many connections do you send a day? Great question, Yassine. So with this, what I would recommend is on LinkedIn, on the free version of LinkedIn, you can connect with up to 100 people per week. I would absolutely leverage that as much as possible. So if you're active on LinkedIn 5 days a week, send 20 connection requests per day. If it suits you better to do them all in one go, do that. But be mindful, what will happen is you could end up in LinkedIn jail. So if you send a lot of connection requests in one go, LinkedIn might perceive that there's a bot. And if they think it's a bot or something that's not an individual actually doing these things, you could end up in LinkedIn jail. Being in LinkedIn jail means that you have no access to LinkedIn for several days. And some people recently, one of my mentors recently, he got a message from LinkedIn saying that he'd been banned permanently. So that was kind of scary. But he was able to connect with some people in LinkedIn head office and get access back to his platform. He was not using a bot. So that's interesting. So send 20 per day if that suits you. Okay, let's see, what else do people ask me? Okay, so two other things that come up quite a lot, and actually I've been doing a lot of LinkedIn audits recently, and this has come up quite a lot too, so I'll share it with you here. One of the main things that struck me when I've been doing these audits, and I've done nearly 20 of them in the past 2 to 3 weeks, what's really interesting is that a lot of people, when they show up on LinkedIn, they're not clear who their ideal clients are. And so in terms of what you have on your profile, your banner, your headline, your summary section, and all of that sort of stuff, if you are not clear on who your ideal clients are, and ideal paying clients, let me just clarify that. If you are not clear on who your ideal paying clients are, their pain points, their aspirations, their frustrations, their irritations, their wants, needs, and desires, if you're not clear on those things, it makes getting clients from LinkedIn more challenging. Because firstly, if you're not clear on that and you're creating content or you're reaching out to connect with people, the content might not resonate because you're not touching on any of those things. Or if you're connecting with people, you might not be connecting with the right people because you're not clear on who they are. So I always think in terms of the first thing is clarity. You need to have clarity. Who are you showing up to serve? What is the number one thing that if somebody reaches out to you, that you want to be able to offer them, that you have clarity on what that is, that you have clarity on why people should choose you? What is your unique value proposition? What is your unique method or framework that makes you stand apart from your competitors? And why are you the credible expert that somebody should choose to work with at any point? And LinkedIn is a playground. There's a billion people or more on LinkedIn, so why should somebody choose you? Because there's like so many other people they could choose. Why choose you? You need to be clear on that, and you need to have the conviction behind it when you can convey that message in your summary and other sections and your content, to be fair. Because if you don't have that belief, if you're not showing up in that energy of I am the best person to help these people with this problem via my solution, right? If you are not clear and have the conviction behind that, you're not going to get the results that you want. So that is really important. Somebody has said, I am all over content and not able to find the right strategy. What do you suggest I do from zero? So what do you mean as in I'm all over content and not able to find the right strategy? Is it that the content strategy, or you're all over the place with content? What exactly do you mean? Let me know. Because otherwise I'll be off on a tangent answering that question and it won't be the actual question that you want answered. So clarify that and I will answer it. So my point there, just to go back to the clarity piece in the audits, is that you need clarity before you show up and do anything else on LinkedIn. And clarity, one of the biggest things that people struggled with through those audits, two things. One was communicating your unique value proposition. So knowing how to convey that message and also knowing how to talk about your offer on LinkedIn. So I think a really great place to share or mention your offer is in your summary section, that it's clear in there what you offer. If it's something that you sell, let's say you sell a digital course, or maybe you sell a service where there's no price, or so you need to create a proposal for every individual client who might work with you. Well, then I would have something in your featured section that invites people to book a call with you, or even a link to the services page on your website if you have one. But again, the idea being that people are clear on how they work with you. Another tip for your profile, I would say as well, is don't repeat messages in different places in your profile. So if your headline says one thing, you don't need to constantly repeat it. Keep it as succinct and short as possible, because ultimately people don't have time, and holding their attention is the biggest challenge of all, because they have their phones in their hands, there's communication coming at them left, right, and center, day in and day out. So by having, your message really clear, succinct, to the point, where it's about your ideal clients, it's about their pain points, it's about their aspirations, it's about what success looks like for them, and how you can help them in terms of 3 or 4 simple steps to be able to do that, or breaking down what your method is, maybe sharing some social proof by way of testimonials or brands that you've worked with. Those things can really help with regards to having a clear profile that flows and that's not repetitive and that they can see. So with profile, your profile doesn't need to be a CV, doesn't need to read like a CV. And, somebody I spoke to recently as well mentioned that their profile didn't really lend to their credibility, and they still had a touch of imposter syndrome. So what I would say there is, if you've worked with some clients and they've gotten good results and you've gotten positive feedback, well, then use that feedback in the profile section, in the summary, to lend to your credibility. That's enough. That is actually enough. Happy clients are better than a degree or a certificate. Happy clients getting results are even better than regular happy clients, right? So share that sort of information, because that's invaluable to people. Okay, so I'm going to touch on the content strategy piece, because I think whoever posted that question hasn't come back to clarify what you mean by that. So in terms of content strategy, this is something actually I was just even planning for myself this week. And so what I've done is I have looked at what are, which will I open it up? I have written out the months, August, September, October, November, December. And I'm like, okay, what am I selling in those months? Firstly, what am I selling in those months? And then what are the core pillars within those offers? So for example, most of my clients use LinkedIn as their primary platform, and their goal is to get more leads, more qualified leads, and more quality leads via LinkedIn. And part of how I help them do that is with a content strategy, an overall marketing strategy, because I always say, don't build your audience on somebody else's farm. Right? You need to have your own farm. And what I mean by that is grow your email list as well. So the goal shouldn't be to just build everything here. It should be to get people's email and move them over there. So this is kind of what we do. So I'm just breaking down for you, for example, August, September, October, November, December. I'm also conscious in December, a lot of people will finish early. We've got Thanksgiving in November in the US. We've got Halloween in October. August is still summer holiday for people. So I need to be mindful how I break this out and what my plan is in terms of revenue goals and all of those things. Because before I even sit down to look at content, I need to look at the bigger picture. What is my bigger goal? And then what I do is think about, as I say, what am I selling? So when I know what I'm selling and I know what the pillars of those offers are, well, then that's what I make my content around. And then in terms of how I might shape that content, some content might capture people's curiosity. So I might create an entertaining post that's related to that specific content. I might create a really informative post that's related to that content and people are interested then. And what that does is that helps me grow brand awareness. But then I might share the behind the scenes stuff. So for Lynn, if you're still watching, that question that you asked in relation to personal stories, that's where I'm going to share loads of personal stories. because I want people to engage with me. And they mightn't necessarily engage directly on my post or my content, but if I share those personal stories and that personal journey, whether it's mine or my clients, it helps them relate to me and get to know me more. And so often people will send me DMs to say, just read your post, read your content, but these are people who've never engaged on it. They've never liked it, they've never commented, but they'll regularly send me messages and be like, oh, I really liked your post today or whatever. So that's great. That's exactly what you want. And then finally, when you're ready to put your offer on the market, when you're ready to be like, okay, this is the time I'm ready for an influx of people here, then what you want to do is really share stories of social proof. You want to tell people what the offer is, how they can get it, how it's going to make their lives better, and why they should buy it now, why they should care that you have it in the first place. And so, ideally what you'll have is one offer, one simple offer, or if you have multiple offers, that the pillars are the same. So that way your message and your content strategy is consistent the whole way through. So I hope that helps and supports with that content question. So another question in LinkedIn changed accessibility in company pages. It's now hard to see who voted what in a poll because LinkedIn is pushing boosts super hard suddenly. Yes, they are pushing boosts super hard suddenly and trying to get you to take ads. That's what they want. They want you to spend money. And let me see, I haven't been using my company page at all. I'm not gonna pretend I have. And they've actually, I'm logging into my company page, I haven't been in here in a long time. So I'm gonna be like totally transparent and share my screen. I've literally just clicked into it and look what it says. Welcome to your new dashboard. We've introduced a new dashboard view to help you understand what actions to take next to quickly grow and optimize your page. So I'm going to click learn more. What's this about? I haven't even seen this yet. So thank you for this question. As a LinkedIn, it's a centralized view, dashboard, it's the main landing page, page posts, review and interact. Okay, so I think they're making it a little bit more like what Meta have. Oh, sorry, this is where it brought me to this page when I clicked through. LinkedIn pages, admin view features. So it's like Meta. If any of you use Meta, that's what it's about. So let me see. Feature top content, invite connections, start a post, check LinkedIn ads. Okay, so it's just an overview page on the dashboard. Okay, interesting. Yes, so for the company page, like how I see polls, whilst they're valuable, I'm more inclined to use them if I'm in a conversion campaign. And what I mean by that is if you create a poll on LinkedIn, and let's say it might be which of these areas are you struggling with? Ideally, those 4 areas should be 4 problems that your offer solves. And anybody who votes in any of the 4 areas is somebody who you could reach out to connect with and support with that problem. Or maybe say, oh, actually, I saw that you voted option number 2 on my LinkedIn poll. And did you know that that's something that I can help you with? Or would you be interested in having a call or whatever to talk about that? And what I would say there is if the company page is not allowing you to be able to view that readily, I would take that and do it on your personal page, but make sure when you share polls that they're aligned with a conversion campaign. So if you see me putting out a poll, folks, you know it's because I'm in a conversion mode. And I mean, it's rare. If I've done it, it's been rare. But maybe over a year ago was the last time I put out an offer post. You don't see me do them. And it's because I don't really personally like to sell directly on my LinkedIn feed. I'd much rather direct people to my email address. And once they come into my world via my email, they'll get more regular correspondence from me in terms of what I offer. So I hope that makes sense. Okay, I hate what Meta have. Not a fan of heavy-handedness, super limiting. Yeah, agreed. yeah, it can be difficult actually to see what the insights are on some of them as well. But yeah, I would say take the softly approach. It's much nicer, and it's permission based. Then people have entered into your world when you do that sort of stuff. And again, in there it could be, you know, if somebody votes in your poll and you have the 4 options lined up intentionally, what you can do is you can share that you have free resources, and the free resource can lead them into your world as well. So you can do it that way too. Okay, thank you so much for showing up with your questions. Thank you to those of you who sent them to me in advance. Next week, I am showing up here live and I am doing a session. Let me see, I'd written this down what I was doing it on. Oh, I don't even remember what it was. Let me see. It's in my events section. I have to go to LinkedIn to check what it was about again. And let's see, events. 5 top tips for effective LinkedIn lives. LinkedIn lives. So you'll have to let me know, was this LinkedIn live effective? Was it effective for you? Let me know, send me a message. I'd love to hear from you. And thank you so much for your time today and for watching all the way through. This is like my longest LinkedIn live ever. I'll have no voice. Folks, have a fabulous weekend. And as I said earlier, if you want to learn more about LinkedIn and the strategies that I use and that my clients use, head up to my featured section where you'll see the free training, which is how to get your ideal clients chasing you on LinkedIn without wasting time on complex funnels. The feedback from it has been phenomenal. And it's about 90 minutes or so long. So check it out and see how you get on. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful weekend and bye for now. See you next week.